Pennsylvania Congressman Joe Sestak, who is also a 3-star Admiral in the U.S. Navy. Welcome. Nice to see you.
Good to be back with you, Alex.
Look, I know that you served in the war in Afghanistan. You ran the Navy's terrorism unit during the global war on terrorism. If the U.S. were to leave Afghanistan, does that damage our terror fighting abilities, or is our national security job done in Afghanistan?
It is done in Afghanistan. It would only have an impact on our global war on terror efforts if it were to have an impact on our finishing the eradication of al-Qaeda that are in Pakistan. They're not in Afghanistan. And second, if somehow our too rapid withdrawal were to impact the government of Pakistan, because if they were to fail, there are 2,000 scientists that built the nuclear weapons that are in that country. And if they came under the hands of the Taliban that once got within 60 miles of the capital of Pakistan, then the war of terror would exponentially grow. All that said, when 4 years ago the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said, representing the administration's position, in Iraq we do what we must, but in Afghanistan we do what we can, it kind of sealed our fate within Afghanistan, because when you're in war, you must do what you must do, not what you can. And so that's why I think we would not have an impact within Afghanistan if we were to do our withdrawal.
So there's a difference then in the approach. I'm curious about your experience in Afghanistan. As horrible as this incident is, can you imagine any scenario under which you would think, oh, this was bound to happen?
No. I served for 31 years with thousands of service members, and I was on the ground for a very, very short period of time in Afghanistan. No, not at all. Our service members are so unique, but this speaks to a higher issue. The most destructive thing about war is what is our most precious resource, human capital. And when a few years ago Harvard University did the study, said the war in Iraq would not cost $600 or $800 billion, like the Office of Management and Budget said, in terms of what we buy for beans and bullets. They said it would be over $3 trillion because of the impact on our human capital. Not only the loss of lives of our service members, but over 1/3 come home with post-traumatic stress disorder. What occurred on this rampage is inexcusable, and we must hold it accountable. But that said, these wars are different today. This soldier, who had served in Iraq 3 times and once now in Afghanistan, was asked to go outside the wire every day and then come back in for 15 months, then go back at home for 12 and back out into a combat-like situation, not knowing if the Afghani soldier next to him is going to blow himself up. There's unremitting pressure, and I think that's why you can see that $3 trillion, which has to do with the cost of post-traumatic stress disorder and the rehabilitation and the impact on productivity, is something that this nation has to understand when its leaders take us to war. The full dimensions of the consequences of war is upon our human capital.
How does this potentially change the American tactics? Do you think that we may leave Afghanistan sooner than expected and planned?
I hope it does focus us solely on Pakistan. It's the only reason to be in Afghanistan. In fact, Secretary Gates, when he briefed us in an offsite in Congress on the surge, said the primary purpose of this surge was to help seal the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan so that Pakistan would go after the Taliban on their side and we would crush them if they tried to flee, and eventually with our drones and their efforts get al-Qaeda. We were promised metrics to measure that, but if it's not working, then an exit must be brought about. But Alex, this exit is not easy. You and the viewers remember Black Hawk Down in Somalia, where we had our special forces dragged through the streets. We had 18,000 troops, only 1/5 the number of troops now in Afghanistan. That's all we had in Somalia. And when President Clinton said we're going to withdraw, it took us 6 months to do it safely. Because to exit is one of the most challenging military operations to be done. And we can't exit this landlocked country through Pakistan because we don't bring anything in through Pakistan because they ambush our convoys there, and Pakistan now doesn't even allow it. We're going to have to go through Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, and only in the last few weeks and months have we even begun to let contracts out to permit an exit. This will take time because they'll know how we'll exit, and it must be done safely and well. For those who are saying get out tomorrow, no. It's about our service members getting out safely and inputting the correct strategy to continue it, probably from a distance, of eradicating al-Qaeda in Pakistan.
Valuable insights, former Representative Joe Sestak, for which we thank you so much. Appreciate them. Thanks.
Thanks for having me, Alex.